It's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for Ignition with the AEW Fan Hub podcast team. It is AEW Dynasty time. We got the go-home show for AEW Dynasty, AEW Dynamite, of course, Wednesday night. Saturday night, we're still doing a collision, right?
Yeah, no preemptions this week.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of, so it's going to be a busy week from here on out for AEW. Look, we're going to be talking about AEW Dynasty, previews and predictions. That's why the title of the show is Preview and Prediction Show for AEW Dynasty. But I think we have to talk also about AEW Dynamite, because in our first segment, we're going to talk about the build-up toward AEW Dynasty, and I don't think it's done yet. So before we get started with that, we're just going to let a couple of our podcasters kind of reveal some of the news of the week. So I'm just going to throw it to them.
Yeah, and this is Barry with some unfortunate injury news. The Australian heartthrob Kyle Fletcher has a meniscus injury that's going to sideline him for quite some time. So that's some sad news for all of the Fletchlights out there.
And this is Chris with some positive news and some I'm very excited about. Tony Khan has announced that ROH Supercard of Honor will feature the first ever women's survival of the fittest women's world title match. Athena defending her title against 5 of ROH's best women.
And this is Rollins. The former Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, has vacated the APAC Women's Championship. So she is no longer 10 belts Moné. She is 0 belts Moné.
Thanks, guys. Well done. And we're going to hop right into the show. But before we talk about AEW Dynasty or AEW Dynamite, I think we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Well, the elephant in the ring, if you will. The AEW Dynasty match card, the build toward it. I'm going to put you guys right here on the spot. What do you guys think? Has this been built really well?
Nope. Not at all.
Nope.
You know what? Look, last night on Clash of the Podcasts by our friends at EPW Show, they talked about the WrestleMania 42 match card. And they went match by match and just was like the hype meter for the matches. And I looked at the AEW Dynasty match card, and I have on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't have any above 5.
The only one that I have close to a 10 is Jon Moxley versus Will Ospreay, because I think that match has the most story going into it because of everything that happened at Forbidden Door.
You're right, yeah.
Ospreay having to take time off. He returns at Revolution, and he's just been gunning for Jon Moxley. I'm honestly surprised that this match is going to be for the Continental Championship. I thought it was just going to be non-title, straight-up grudge match. Ospreay would then move on and have bigger fish to fry.
Right.
So
well, we're going to talk at length about the match when we do our predictions. So let's hold off on getting into a discussion about the matches as of yet, Rollins. But I'll let you finish your thoughts there when we actually get to the Ospreay versus Moxley match. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
But I think what we need to do is to talk about AEW Dynamite. And, well, is the elephant going to be able to leave the room? Because we've got some matches and segments on AEW Dynamite that may hopefully spawn more matches at the 11th hour. But so let's talk about AEW Dynamite. And of course, one of the first things we've got to talk about is Chris Jericho will address his return live. Look, do you guys think that Chris Jericho, whether it's on 0 Hour or on the proper AEW Dynamite, will get a match at Dynasty this coming weekend?
Yeah, and I think it'll be relatively easy to set up. You just have him come out, talk, and you have a heel interrupt him and be like, we don't need you here anymore. We were fine without you. Boom, your match is set. Um, Back to the hype for Dynasty. I'm hyped for the world title match, the
Oh,
tag title match.
we're going to talk about the matches at Dynasty. As I told Rollins, we are going to talk about them individually. I just wanted to get your overall idea whether the hype was even worth it. But we're going to talk about the hype, make our predictions of each match that has been made. There's so little. We're going to even do 0 hour
about what Jericho is going to have to eventually say. I want to know. We know there's been interviews saying that he was a free agent at one point, and he chose AEW.
That has now been confirmed that he was a free agent.
Yes. I love Chris Jericho. I know a lot of people get tired of him. There's people on this who do this, this podcast who do not like him for various reasons. But he came back. It was a good entrance. I'm excited to see who he goes against first. It's not a lot of time to do something, so it's not going to be somebody big. But I think he's going to have a match.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Tony Khan was on the podcast with Vince Russo and the coach, Jonathan Coachman, earlier today. And Tony Khan did confirm that Chris Jericho was, in fact, a free agent. Did not say how long he was a free agent, but he did say that it was sometime late last year. And when he said that, sometime late last year, according to Tony Khan, is when they pinpointed Winnipeg as the date of Chris Jericho's return. So
they've had that since last year?
Last year, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Of course, Chris Jericho may have been, touring with Fozzy or whatever, making a movie, whatever. But Chris Jericho wanted to come back at Winnipeg. And that's what it was. And that's what Tony Khan said. Fightful did report that, yes, Chris Jericho has signed a new multi-year deal with AEW. So he's not going to be here for, one pay-per-view, one big last match, and then go to WWE. He is signed to a multi-year deal. Anybody else with thoughts on Jericho?
Well, first of all, I loved the way they brought him back last week. Shivani's in the ring trying to get to the contract signing. They do one round of pyrotechnics. He looks over and he's like, huh? And he tries to do it again. Another round of pyrotechnics. And he's like, I'm sorry. And then Judas plays. It was awesome. I loved it. It made sense for him to come back in Winnipeg because he is from Winnipeg. I don't think he's going to have a match on Dynasty. I think it's too soon. Let him cut a few promos, get into a feud, and give him his first match at Double or Nothing. I get that Dynasty is in Canada. He's from Canada. But I'd rather him get into a feud and then do his first match at Double or Nothing.
That's fair. Barry, look, what did you think, first of all, about his entrance, meaning Jericho's entrance, and the fact that it took 15 minutes and he said 4 words? I mean, I hope he wasn't being paid by the word.
It's weird. I couldn't tell if the reaction was not as exuberant as I was expecting, but I think some of that may have been audio levels of the crowd. Right. The crowd was mic'd weird. I would see them cheering and not hear them, and that's very disorienting as a fan to see that when the audio mixes off. I thought the introduction was interesting. I thought it was way too long of a segment, personally.
Agreed.
But they wanted to make a big moment, so I understand what they were going for. I think if it was a minute or two shorter, it would have been a little better. I don't think he'll have a match at the pay-per-view. I would tease this and string this out a little bit, and I'm with Rollins. Maybe before Double or Nothing, but he'll be on the pay-per-view. I don't think they'll do a match.
Marcus, what do you think? Well, when I say Marcus, I mean Marcus. MK will go to you after this.
So,
Go ahead.
I do think Jericho. I don't think Jericho's going to have a match on the pay-per-view, but I think we'll get an idea of where he's going. And so, That's what I'm most anticipating. I want to see who he actually is going to feud with going into his first feud coming back.
I wouldn't be surprised, MK, if like Marcus and Barry had said that he doesn't have a match, and I think Rollins, he also said that he wouldn't have a match at the pay-per-view. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Jericho was behind the announce table for maybe a match or so at the
I would
pay-per-view.
like that. I thought I always enjoyed him doing commentary on Rampage. I think he has a very Bobby the Brain Heenan type of delivery when he does his heel stuff, and he knows how to get what's supposed to be over in a match over on commentary, which not everybody's as good at. I agree with you.
All right, MK, let's hear what you got to say.
Sorry, I got confused on names. I like I said, I think I don't know. He may or may not be. I like the idea of him really being on commentary or having his own segment, and then starting off a feud and something coming out from there, or whatever. But um, he I really liked the segment. I thought it could have been placed different and not to start off. It was weird to me that was right at the start of the segment of what was supposed to be something pretty big. I think he kind of ruined that moment for me a little bit because it could have been midway through and been fine. It didn't need to be placed right at the start of the show. But other than that, I really think it was a spectacular move to do. April 1st apparently has something significance too, because if I remember right, he debuted on WWE programming on April 1st as well, or something of that nature. So
I'll have to
it
look
has
that up.
significance.
All right, well, let's move. Has everybody had a chance to give their opinion on this? Chris, have you said something on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega. I just
That's the website.
That's his
The
new name,
camera
Kenny
website.
Omegle.
yeah, for some reason when I was saying his name, Leo Rush popped into my head, and I was like Kenny Omega and Smeagol, and I made it Kenny Omega. Anyway, Kenny Omega is going to speak live. We already know he's got a match at Dynasty against MJF for the AEW World Championship. Do you think that there's a chance that this Kenny Omega or Omegle speaks live will spawn any other matches at all for Dynasty? I don't know.
I
The
don't
Bucks
really
have a
see
match.
how.
I don't understand why they're doing this, honestly.
Well, if look, we know that MJF has put like a bounty on Kenny Omega. Don Callis' family may come out. Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight come out to save him.
Yeah,
To
I
save him.
think you're
And
right,
then
Kelson.
you
I
have
think
a
this
match.
is.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
reaching here because look, we were talking before the podcast. I think it was me and Rollins. We only have 6 matches, and that includes a match on 0 Hour for Dynasty. That's a great pay-per-view for WWE. It's a half a pay-per-view for AEW. So I'm reaching here. I'm trying to figure out where are we going to get more matches? How are we going to get more matches? That's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. This will either lead to something on Dynamite later that night with a match, depending on where this is placed, or something set up for the pay-per-view. Did the Bucks have a match yet?
No, they don't.
No,
I would
they-
not be shocked if that leads into something for them here. But I think you're right. When I saw this, I'm like, this is to set up something because they need 1 or 2 more matches for the card. Or
MJF is going to come out
maybe
during this
this is the
segment.
time that Tony gives us a show under 5 hours, and we can go to bed before 12:30 Eastern.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Do
you're
we need
just
11
dreaming there,
matches? I
Barry.
don't think
I
we
think you're
do.
just dreaming.
Well, let's move on because we've got a lot to cover yet tonight, but I want to move on to an actual match that's going to be on Dynamite. And this is one that I do think will spawn a match. Look, at Dynasty. Look, we already have Andrade El Idolo and Darby Allin at Dynasty. But if you look at this, there are a couple of matches, in my opinion, that could come from this. For example, Mark Davis maybe against Brody King, or maybe Mark Davis against Jack Perry for the national championship.
I would like to see Mark Davis versus Brody King. I always enjoy a good house battle. And those two are two guys who are not just big and powerful, but they're both athletic and can do some things that guys that size should not be able to do. So yeah, just put them in a match together just because it would be awesome.
Yeah, and of course you can get the meat chance going. Does anybody else see anything coming out of this?
So when I look at matchups, I try to figure out who's going over. Davis can eat a loss, no problem. But who of the other three can eat a loss and be okay?
See, and I'm thinking just the opposite of you.
I agree.
I'm thinking Davis is the one that cannot eat a loss, and I think Brody King and Jack Perry can both eat losses and be okay. Less so for Brody King, but I do think that Jack Perry can.
So he would lose his belt after winning it?
Right after winning it.
Okay.
And you shouldn't have a problem with that because you're always been in favor of hot potatoing these types of belts.
I said I hot potato the trios belts and should move around some of the belts more. I don't think the first defense or maybe the second defense. I think it's a little early in particular, but we
could have.
It's not the end of the world.
I mean,
I'm not hung up on it. It's such a big deal. It'll be fun.
I do think that Mark Davis should not eat a pin. Put it that way.
Okay.
Even if even if they have a match at Dynasty as an eliminator match.
Yeah. Takeshita is the only one that I don't think should eat a loss out of the four of them.
No.
My
Chris,
thoughts on this match.
Or Marcus, go ahead. Sorry.
My thoughts on this match is I think this will be where we get an idea on what they're going to do with the TNT Championship coming out of this match. Since Kyle Fletcher looks like he's going to be out, I think we already talked about, they may look to vacate the belt and crown a new champion at Dynasty.
I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on, Marcus.
What's frustrating for me, honestly, is I loved the match at Revolution between Swerve and Brody. And once Swerve lost the match against Kenny, which, Barry, I vehemently disagree. I love that they put the stipulation in there, but that's besides the point. Once Swerve lost that match, I thought they were going to revisit the Swerve-Brody feud, and at Dynasty, I thought they would do part 2 and make it some crazy stipulation. So I'm very disappointed that match is most likely not going to happen because I loved the story they were telling. I thought the match at Revolution was great. So that's really disappointing for me.
Oh, well, let's move on to the final Dynasty match, and that is the return of Queen Aminata going for the TBS Championship against Willow Nightingale. Something's got to happen. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I don't see this match ending. Not in a clean way. Tekla has always had a really, really entertaining feud with Aminata. I just don't see this match ending with a final bell. It's going to build something else up. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
How do you run that? Do you start the match, hit commercial break, and then do the shenanigans coming back for the finish?
I guess. But look, Willow Nightingale's the TBS Championship. She's another one that does not have a match at Dynasty. Neither do the Divine Dominion. I mean, when you look at Dynasty, the TBS Championship, the TNT Championship, the International Championship, the Women's Tag Team Championship, the National Championship. I think there's 6 belts that are not up for defense in any way. They've got to put something meaningful in there. But again, my thoughts on this goes back to the elephant in the room. You don't wait for the Wednesday night before Sunday pay-per-view to make matches for a title. That's preposterous. And there's nothing that really was like, if you look at it, it's nothing like Osprey and Mox, where it makes sense to do it. There's nothing that makes sense for Willow Nightingale. There's nothing that makes sense for Jack Perry. There's nothing that makes sense for Konosuke. Who's the international? I don't even know who the international champion is right now.
It's Okada.
There's nothing that makes sense for Okada.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense for Okada.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that they had some stuff planned for that love triangle with the three of them and the TNT title coming into the pay-per-view, that's out the window. Like, who was the one that suggested, Marcus, was it you that suggested like a four-way or something for the TNT title?
Yeah, some kind of multi-man for the TNT title.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think similar something here, Kelson. Like, the more I think about this after you mentioned that, I think this match will set up something for Willow, whether it's a tag match with the two of them against the Towers of Terror or whatever, Divine Dominion.
Hours of Terror.
I just can't. I mean, they're so large, just giant women.
Yes, the giant.
Yeah, but no, I
the
think
giant women.
Large women alert. That's what I always say on the
Yes.
Discord.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to actually predicting and giving our hype meter for each match in AEW Dynasty. And we're going to do something that we have never done before. We're going to start with 0 Hour. Alex Windsor against Marina Shafir. Hype meter for me, 0. There is no hype for this match, in my opinion. None.
Yeah, I like Alex Windsor, and that's about
Yeah.
all I can say about this match.
Stop putting Marina Shafir in singles matches. That's all I gotta say.
Well, okay, but Chris and MK, you both talked, but you didn't give your prediction. Who wins this match?
Alex Windsor.
Alex Windsor? Okay. MK?
Shafir due to shenanigans.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Shafir wins.
I'll go with Windsor. I think it's a coin toss.
I'll go with Shafir. I'm actually pretty hyped for this match. I would give it about a 5.
Yeah, when you look at this match and the women that are in this match, Alex Windsor is the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion.
Yeah.
And Marina Shafir can't really afford to lose because she just lost to Mina Shirakawa. She can't be a big enforcer that loses every match. You know what I mean? So whoever wins this match, that's great for them. Whoever loses, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But when it comes to this hype, I know that Chris and MK gave a hype meter rating on this match. Scale of 1 to 10. What is your rating for this match?
How do you do the scale? Like, is it like a bell curve?
Yeah, it was like 10,
scale, or what are we?
10 being it's hyped through the roof, 1 being it's not hyped at all.
So just the hype, not whether we think it'll end up being fun. Just the hype.
I'm talking about the lead up.
This is like a 2.
I gave it a 0.
2 or 3, like maybe.
What hype has there been?
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
my point.
Look, have they ever been in
At
the ring
least
together
they're on
before?
TV.
Have they ever
as
been
long
in
as
the
they're
ring
on
together
TV.
before?
I don't know.
I don't think they've even talked to each other backstage leading up to this.
Yeah.
This is just
that's why it's a 0 hour match.
Well, Alex Windsor's not doing anything on Sunday. Let's put her in a match.
Let's throw it in 0 hour. Why not?
This match makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
It's a 0 hour match, man.
Yeah.
I think this was a change of plans match.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe
it should have been. Yeah,
that's a very good idea. But what isn't
it's a
it?
Good point, Marcus.
I'm going to go on.
I think they had to move Jamie to the world title match because I think they're going to do the tag team thing. But since Jamie has to fight the world champion, now they have to find something for Alex to do.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, the Brawling Birds are both going to be on Dynasty. Let's go to the main card and let's talk about the hype for the match between MJF and Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
So the thing is pretty funny is that the hype for this match on the match card, they literally have MJF and Kenny Omega, but there's a lot of these things that have MJF as the devil and Kenny Omega as the god of professional wrestling. Hype wise, I give this a 1. This match here, I have absolutely 0 interest in this match at all. If they canceled this match, I would not be upset.
That's because you're mad about the stipulation thing with Swerve, though, isn't it?
It just does not make any sense to me. This is a bad matchup. I'm sorry, it is.
I'm the
I
complete opposite.
disagree.
I got a 10 on this one.
Okay.
Can you
Yeah,
add some more
same. I
context to
got
that,
to.
Marcus?
Okay. Well, Marcus gives us a hype of 10. Who wins it,
Yeah.
Marcus? You also have to give me who wins it.
Mm, that's what has me hype. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm gonna say they keep the title on MJF. But which match do you do at All In? Is it
Yeah.
MJF or Omega going to All In? It's just
Yeah.
kind of
Well, I did. I agree. I gave you my hype. I did not give you my pick. MJF has to win this match. Omega going to All In as the championship is by far the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be, it's going to be Osprey. You're going to have babyface versus babyface for the AEW World Championship at the biggest show of the year. No, that can't happen. It has to be MJF. I mean, you would care if Osprey beat MJF. You would not care as much if Osprey beat Omega.
MJF versus Adam Cole was babyface versus babyface at the first All In. So
so
why
was
couldn't you run a
Swerve and
babyface
Danielson.
again?
But
Yeah.
but Adam Cole and MJF, you knew that there was going to be a betrayal there. So there wasn't. But there wasn't. But you knew there was a betrayal coming.
Sure.
You just didn't know who was going to betray who, and they kept playing into it before and after that. And yes, it was, but it was babyface versus babyface, and it ended up being babyface versus babyface. They both were babyfaces. I think that
we had months.
I think you give that a hall pass because it was the first show at
maybe.
Wembley.
Wasn't Swerve
from
and
a
Danielson
booking,
babyface versus babyface?
No, not really.
I would.
because Swerve was a heel as champ
in that match.
Yeah. I think part of it is for the first All In, that was a storyline that had lasted for a while, and like this storyline just started. We might feel different if maybe, and I think to your point, Kelson, I think MJF retains. I would not be shocked to see a rematch, Double or Nothing with them, where Kenny goes over. Then it would make more sense because now you've got a lengthier storyline for us to get invested. From a build perspective, I think this is a 7 or 8. I think they've done a pretty good job building it. Setting interests aside, if you like it or not, or how good the match is going to be, I think on paper they've done a pretty good job building this as the big match for the show. This is the only one that I think they've done a good job with.
I agree with you that they've done a good job as far as building it. I'm just not hyped. I'm just not hyped for it at all.
That's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
See,
I totally
Barry,
get that. Yeah,
I'm kind of along the same lines as you in terms of like hype and interest. I'm definitely at an 8 on this. And I think part of that is during the match, I think Swerve is going to get involved.
Yeah.
Because he will cost Kenny the match.
Okay, but Rollins and Barry, you did make your pick.
MJF.
Yeah, I did. I said MJF would go over.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agreed with you, and I said I agree with you. I think he retains.
What about you, Rollins?
MJF.
Okay, who hasn't gone yet on this one?
I haven't yet. So I'm sorry, I'm not interested in Kenny Omega as AEW champion, period. He's been there. We've seen this match before. It's going to be good. I think Don Callis is going to screw over Kenny Omega once again because of a long-standing feud and stuff. I don't see Swerve getting involved. Swerve's busy with other stuff and moved on. I love Kenny Omega. I think he's great, but he does not need to be a AEW champion again, and I don't want to see him versus Osprey. I want new feuds going on.
Fair enough. Is there anybody else that hasn't gone yet?
Chris, did you give a pick? Yeah, there you go.
I think MJF is going to win. I'm hyped for this match. I remember the last match; it was great, and that was on Collision. So on a pay-per-view, these two are going to go, above and beyond. The match is going to be awesome. MJF retains, and I think it is him versus Osprey at All In. I think because MJF is the big bad now, so that's where you have, your hometown hero topple the big bad. So yeah, MJF wins. Great match. I'm hyped for this. I'm excited for it. If Kenny does win, I'm not going to be upset, but I would be very surprised.
Well, let's go from the AEW Men's World Championship to the AEW Women's World Championship. And that, of course, means Tekla versus Jamie Hayter. Look, as far as hype goes for this match, well, look, I'm interested in this match. I think it's going to be a terrific match. As far as the hype goes, maybe a 2. They've really not done anything with this.
I grade this on a curve.
They kind of just threw this one in there.
Yeah. Who had said earlier that there was some changes due to injuries? Was that Marcus?
Yeah, I
Somebody
think it
mentioned
was.
for the women's. Yeah, I think that's the case here. Marcus, what do you? I'm interested. Like, what do you think? And I was trying to tee you up there.
So yeah, I think this was a change of plan. I'm pretty sure, or they was rumored that it was going to be Tony and Tekla here.
Yeah.
Jamie was, someone that they could go to. I'm not super interested in this match. I love Tekla. I'm not the biggest Jamie Hayter fan. She's a good wrestler, but I don't like her character right now. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really good match. They had a good match the last time. So
I want to visit that with you, Marcus. Why is it you said you don't like her character right now? Does that mean that you did enjoy her character before, where she was just basically, I guess, the best way to describe her prior character before turning into Daphne from Scooby-Doo is just a brawler that fits well with the Brawling Birds? I mean, did you like her before and then don't like her character now, or is it something that you've not enjoyed Jamie Hayter as a whole?
I just think it's a drastic change from where I did like her character before. I think I don't think she gets her brawling character across like she should now.
I agree with you. I absolutely, the Brawling Birds to me are awful. I have zero interest in them. And it's weird because Tony Khan flat out said, I love the Brawling Birds. They are going to be Women's World Tag Team Champions. And I'm like, I don't care.
You're killing me here, Kelson.
I'm just being honest. I mean, they've done they could do something that will get my interest, but to this point, they've really done nothing. What have they done?
See, this match, I'm actually, even though it's a last minute thing, I am really hyped for this match. Because their original feud, I thought it was awesome. Tekla was just like, I have nothing against you. You were just in my way. But it was great. And I saw highlights of their first match. It was fantastic. I think they're going to put on another tremendous match again. These two have history. So easily, this is at least a 7 for me.
Okay, Rollins, who wins this match, though?
Tekla retains.
Yeah, Marcus, who wins this match?
Tekla retains.
I think he's having connection issues.
No, he's just muted.
Oh.
Marcus?
Yeah, I think Tekla retains.
Yeah, I agree. Tekla retains. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, the match build-wise, I mean, it's a 0, but like Marcus said, it's probably because they had to switch things around. Hype-wise, I'm probably, like an 8. Like, I'm excited for this. I remember their match before, it was really good, and that was, again, a TV match, where this one you've got pay-per-view, so they're going to ramp it up a little bit, and Tekla's only gotten better since then. I think Tekla retains in a really good, hard-hitting match.
Actually, Chris, their last match was at Wrestle Dream in St. Louis.
Was it?
Yes,
I
it was.
I don't know why I thought it was on Dynamite.
Nope, it was on pay-per-view.
Maybe a tag match or something.
Okay. So I think let's go to MK.
Yeah.
So I am hyped for this just because I like Jamie Hayter, but this is another test for Tekla. This is an ex-women's champion who this will be a great notch on her belt to say I've beaten all the best that you can throw at me. So bring me some more, because Tekla is it. She has a it factor. I compare her to an Eddie Guerrero type of lovable heel, and she's doing great at it. And I I am hyped for just the fact that it's going to be a good match. It hasn't been hyped real well, but then again, you really don't need to with these two type of wrestlers.
And you think Tekla's going to win? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Tekla's going to win and keep it for a while.
All right, Barry.
Yeah, I'm with Marcus. I grade this on a curve. Because Tony being out, they had to kind of throw this together. They went with the safe pick with Jamie. This match in particular, thinking about it, I'm pretty sure the Brawling Birds are going to take on Divine Dominion, Tekla and Tony, and then Kyle Fletcher and somebody else. Are 3 matches. That's one of the reasons why this is low. I think that all happened here, but yeah, it'll be fun. I give the build. It's like a 2. But again, it's not really their fault.
Yeah,
1 or 2 maybe.
I'm like, how could you give it a? How could you give it a 2? There is no build.
For it to be a 0 or a 1, it would have to involve somebody who's not been on TV, and they're both active players. So, like I said, I'm grading it on a curve. It's not AEW's
that's
fault.
a hell of a curve.
What are you talking about? Rollins gave it an 8. Like I'm at the bottom, man.
Rollins is Rollins. I mean,
what?
It's
like I gave it a 2. Like I don't think that's
He was in Germany for the last 2 weeks. He didn't know that they haven't. All of a sudden, hey, guess what? Jamie Hayter versus Tekla. Have fun.
One other thing too. I do not think it's a coincidence that Tony locked Tekla up to a longer term contract once Tony Storm got hurt. I think he realizes, to somebody else's point, I think MK said Tekla's got that it factor, and you need those big stars locked up.
Yeah, she's definitely got it. Speaking of it factor, let's go with Will Ospreay, who has the it factor, and Jon Moxley.
What?
Exactly. Hype wise, I have to give this about a 7, maybe an 8. Give it.
You are tough.
I give it a 10.
This is the best build on the show, man. This is the best show. This is the best build for the show.
But as far as interest, I really don't have any interest in this match either. I am tired of seeing Jon Moxley he needs a break. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I am bored of Jon Moxley. And I don't like that because Jon Moxley is the ace. He is the ace of AEW, but he's just too visible for me. And as far as who wins this, flip a coin, Moxley wins it because I really don't care who wins this match.
Are these Continental rules? Is it 20 minutes?
It's going to be Continental
20
Championship
minutes,
rules.
no interference, and that's why I think it is going to go to a time limit draw.
Yeah, I agree.
Because here's the deal. Ospreay doesn't care. I don't want to say he doesn't care about winning that title. He wants the Continental rules so none of the Death Riders can interfere. He just wants to be able to beat the hell out of Moxley for 20 minutes. And if he can pin him in that time, great. If not, he's just going to try to beat his ass.
All right. Well, who wins?
Draw. Like I said, I think it goes to a draw.
And if it goes to a draw, that means there's going to be a rematch. And if that happens, I swear to you, I will find you and I will slit your throat. Figuratively speaking.
Okay, go ahead.
Man, I can't have that happen because then we won't have anybody to run the podcast if you're in prison, man.
I said figuratively speaking.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine. I want to die.
Who else wants to give their pick here?
This match easily is a 10 for me. Easily.
Everything's high for you, though, so.
You gave Tekla an 8. So
Rollins is just Rollins for AEW and Rollins.
Rollins is just excited.
We need Rollins to balance out Kelson's negativity.
It's like a puppy with 2 Peters here, just humping everything.
If you put sicko in the dictionary, it'd be Rollins sitting there with an AEW shirt.
Oh my God. No, but like I was saying earlier, these two have history. It was Moxley and the Death Riders who took Ospreay out at Forbidden Door, and Ospreay returns at Revolution. Who's he gunning for? Jon Moxley. There you go.
Yeah.
This is the match I've been most invested in since Revolution, easily. I cannot wait for this match. I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to watch it on Sunday because of other priorities that I have to take care of, but I will make sure to find a way to watch the match afterwards. No questions asked.
Okay, who's
I
next?
want to hear from MK. I want to hear from MK.
Yeah, MK, let's. MK, you're
So
up.
I'm not obviously as hyped as Rollins,
No,
but
nobody's as hyped as Rollins.
it's been a good setup. My opinion is they should have held off on this match and this could have been a multi-man match where he brought some of over his New Japan friends and had a multi-man match and then set up a match later because I don't feel like they've hyped it up enough to where it matters to me, because Will Ospreay does not need the Continental title. It'd be great for someone to get it off of Moxley, but if he gets it, that's great. He'll do some great matches, but I think it's too early to put a belt on Ospreay right now. So that's why I'm going to say I think Moxley wins just to keep the ball rolling for the Continental title.
Well, Ospreay's going to get the world title at All In, so he doesn't really need the Continental title.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I just feel like this could have been a match that would happen later.
I think this is going to end up being a very important match. I could be completely wrong. I've made predictions that were wrong before, but I would not be surprised at the end of this. No, I haven't. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this match. We see involvement from the Death Riders, the Don Callis family, and I think there's a legit possibility the United Empire that currently exists comes over from New Japan. I think they can use that as a way to get Ospreay and Mox in a blow-off match on TV that they can promote for a non-title. So not Continental rules, cage match, something else that's outside of the Continental, so that Ospreay can get his win, and that leaves Mox to drop the belt to Takeshita at All In, at Double or Nothing, to lead to the unification match at All In. I think a lot of people think are going to happen. But I think this match is going to set up a bunch of other stuff, and there's an easy way for them to get out without needing to have a winner if you go to the time limit draw, and have it make sense without feeling like we're robbed of a good match either.
All right. Is there anybody that has not given their pick yet?
Yeah, I'd like to give a suggestion here.
Go ahead.
So my hype is probably like a 2. This match is kind of like a double negative. Like, I don't think Moxley needs the championship anymore, but I don't think Will Ospreay needs the championship either.
Right.
So I think this match ends either in a DQ by Will Ospreay or a count out. And they go into the crowd or whatever, which sets up the Stampede match that's coming in Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both you and Barry. The match itself for the title is not what's important. Finishing what happened to Ospreay, and
Will just wants to get his hands on him, right?
For revenge, So yeah, so let's move on to yet another highly hyped match, FTR versus Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. As far as how they hyped this match, I got to give it a 7. They've done a good enough job hyping this match, 7 or 8. Is my interest in this match? I'm not at all interested in this match. But I have to give them credit where credit is due. They did hype the hell out of it. It's a meaningless match to me. Whoever wins, yay. Whoever loses, okay. That's it. There's nothing here. The only thing that I could want to see here is maybe I don't know, Beth Copeland coming out and beating the snot out of Stokely Hathaway again. That would make the match worth it. The match itself,
I think you're going to get it.
The match itself, to me, I just don't care. And so is whoever wins. Coin flip again. Hold on. FTR.
Why do you want to see Stokely get beat up? I mean, aside from his own actions, What has he done to deserve that?
He's
I
bald.
think you're
That's a
right on.
bobblehead. You can't do that.
Anybody who is that bald and that short and doesn't get the hose needs to be beat up.
See, you've been calling me like Mr. Positive and I have AEW running through my veins. You want to know how hyped I am for this match?
A 10.
10.
No. The exact opposite. About a 0. Because I want the Young
Well,
Bucks
no,
in this match.
it's not how hyped you are for this match, it's how much that they've hyped this match. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to admit that they did hype this match really well. Your interest may be a 0, but you can't deny that they've hyped this match. Whereas,
Okay,
for example, with Tekla and Jamie Hayter, they didn't hype that match at all. Your interest may be an 8 or a 9, but they haven't hyped that match at all.
11.
Okay. All right, let me rephrase. Damn it. My interest for Jamie Hayter Tekla is about an 8, but the hype is about a 2. There you go. The hype for this match, I would give it about a 4. My interest is about a 0.
Okay, that's fair enough.
See, I'd say the hype for this match is pretty high. My interest is high because, I think FTR is one of the best teams in the world. And, I mean, where everyone else back in the, Attitude Era was Hardy Boys or Dudleys, man, I was Edge and Christian all the way. So,
Yeah.
they're one of my all-time favorite tag teams. I'm excited for this match. I think it'll be really good. I think they work well. They'll work really well together. And yeah, I mean, the build is definitely there for it.
All right, but
I'm going to say Cage and Cope win.
You think Cage and Rollins? Who do you think wins?
Cage and Cope.
Cage and Cope, okay. Who hasn't gone yet?
So
Marcus didn't go.
I want to see Cage and Cope win. But the one thing I want to see the most, and the thing that I've been waiting on, it hasn't happened. I want to see them actually look like a team. They haven't came out in matching gear. They don't come out together. It's just like two separate. This is not a team. This is just two people.
No, that's
Yeah, I
a
agree with
really
that.
good point. Yeah.
Kelson, I think you were jokingly saying Beth Phoenix. I think there's a legitimate chance we see her on Sunday getting her revenge on Stokely in particular. Yeah.
Beth,
or was that you, MK? That was somebody.
Beth Copeland.
Whatever. Yeah. So I think this is probably the second best built on the show. And the 3 big matches they've tried. They have a legitimate build. The rest is kind of a mess. So I'm excited for this match. I'm not as excited as some other matches, like a 7-ish. But it's funny because Cope and Christian, or Edge and Christian, when I was in college, that was the only wrestling my wife would watch, or my girlfriend at the time. So she's actually interested a little bit in this match too.
I think you've mentioned the Edge and Christian thing before about your wife.
Yeah, that's the only wrestler she liked.
Well, let's move on to the actual last match confirmed for Dynasty, and that's Andrade El Idolo against Darby Allin. Now, as far as hype goes, this hype for this match has been a little subliminal. It's not been really overly hyped, but the hype has been there. I have to give it a 5. My interest in this match is at a 9. This is by far the most interesting match. None of the other matches. There is no other match on this, in my opinion. There is no other match on this card so far that even comes within any kind of distance as far as what's interesting to me. The other matches are not good for me. I'm sorry. I have zero interest in AEW Dynasty other than in this match, really. I have a passing interest in a couple of the other matches. This match I do have an interest in because I enjoy... I got to mute Marcus or MK. Sorry. I do enjoy Andrade El Idolo. And if you remember back to Revolution, what match was I most hyped for? Andrade El Idolo. The guy has it. He has come back to AEW with a vengeance. That is your next TNT champion, if you ask me.
100% agree.
It's a great call. Yeah.
I really think Look, I know they're looking for Darby Allin to be the next guy to take on MJF. I don't want to see that. I've spoken on that before. I really don't care to see him in thing. I really want to see Andrade win and then say, look, I took care of your problem. Now it's time to face me in a match, in a good, solid match. And
A match against who?
MJF.
No. I don't want to see Andrade lose to MJF. Andrade's not going to beat MJF.
Well, he has to have somebody next, and I don't think Darby Allin's it.
The TNT Championship is vacant right now,
Well, yes,
for all intents and purposes.
Right.
Andrade should be the next TNT champion. I really strongly believe that. I mean, but regardless of that, whether the TNT Championship is in Andrade's future or not, I don't want to see him go against MJF because there's no way they're going to have Andrade beat MJF.
MK, I think you booked it there. It's just MJF says he calls in a few favors as champ and gets him a TNT title shot or something. I think you're right, actually. How you booked that. Yeah. It just won't be. It won't. To Kelson's point, it won't be for the belt. It'll be for one of the other titles.
Yeah, Andrade deserves it. He's came back with a vengeance. He really has.
I'm almost verbatim with you, Kelson. This has been a real low-key build. It's been kind of stuff you've had to pay attention to on the sides, and this match has me super excited. Their styles are so different, and they're both so good that I can just imagine them salivating on how they can come around and do some really unique stuff, because like these two dudes are at the top of their game right now, and I agree Andrade is on the run of his life, arguably, and I think they're going to put on a heck of a show, and I think this is going to be a show stealer. I do not know who's going to win this. I can't make a pick, man.
Yeah, I didn't make a pick either. Ultimately, a draw would be great, but I have to go with Andrade simply because Andrade's the man.
Yeah, if I was forced, I'd say him, but I don't know.
And unlike Stokely, Andrade gets the hose.
Kelson, I'm with you on Andrade. I think he has come back and totally reinvented himself. He has, I think he gets it now.
He looks like he's having fun. Would you agree with that, Rollins?
Oh, yeah. I think during his first run in AEW, it felt like he was just trying too much. And it just wasn't connecting with the fans. The hype for this match, I like it somewhat. I would go right in the middle, about a 5. Because I'm more interested in the story they're telling with Andrade and the Don Callis family.
Right,
That's the part that interests me more. The Darby side of this, if they do Darby versus MJF, okay, doesn't do a whole lot for me. So the match itself, I don't have a lot of interest in. The Andrade side is more interesting to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm kind of in that same boat. I feel like kind of how they have like MJF is the devil and Kenny Omega is the god figure in their graphic. It should be Andrade on fire and Darby on ice. This is probably as cold as I've ever seen Darby Allin up to this point.
I do want to break in. I do want to break in here. Conrad has shown up in our chat and said hello to everybody and likes our graphics, which are not our graphics because I basically stole them from AEW.
Please, hey, kudos on the motion graphics, by the way. Is this the first time we've done that?
No, we did it last week. Last week had motion graphics. This week is actually AEW's motion graphics that I've morphed.
Because there's a lot, so maybe that's why I just noticed it more.
Yeah. No, last week we had motion graphics.
Gotcha.
Who else needs to pick this match? I'm sorry. I got a little bit distracted.
I think I forgot to make a pick. I will actually go with Andrade because I think it furthers his story with the Don Callis family.
Okay. Anybody else has not made a pick yet?
Yeah. Man. it feels like they kind of made this a de facto #1 contenders match as a whole. If Darby Allin wins, he gets a title shot. So, I mean, by that token, if Andrade wins, he should get a title shot. So I feel like we're going to see a Darby Allin slash pin in this one.
Okay. Well, guess what, guys? It's time. It is time for It's a
First I'll go.
Kafabe.
Oh, a
It's a
Kafabe.
Kafabe. We have not had a Kafabe in a couple of weeks because it's been so packed. So we have a few minutes left. Let's go into It's a Kafabe. Of course, if we're going to do it, It's a Kafabe, we got to do a graphic. And this week's graphic, I kind of cheated. You may have seen this graphic before because I posted it on the Discord about, I would say 3 weeks to a month ago. But I'm rather proud of it. And that is the talented Mr. Ripley. I actually miss Buddy Matthews, and I know in the last couple of pay-per-views dating back to World's End last year, I've been really wanting to see Buddy back. Buddy is such a good performer. I believe he's underrated. I really want to see him back at AEW, tearing things up. Who has a Kafabe for this week? Anybody?
Go real quick.
Go for it.
I spoke earlier about the fact that Tony has said that Jericho is now with AEW, and he was a free agent. He's now signed. The point I'm getting at is TK did an interview. I believe it was Vince Russo and someone else. I can't remember.
Jonathan
Coachman. I'm not a big fan of those guys, but for him to go on a show where he is in opposition territory speaks a lot of him, of how the man used to be. He used to be rage-filled tweets, and he has calmed down a bunch, and he is doing his thing. So for that, I got to give the man props for going on there and just doing his thing, because he's really improved from the early days of getting mad at Swole on Twitter to now.
Yeah, the interview, I watched the entire thing. MK, I don't know, did you watch the entire thing?
I have not, no.
Yeah. I mean, it started off a little tentative. It really did. But then they opened up, and you could tell that there was mutual admiration there. And I think the biggest thing, I was really surprised at Vince Russo during the interview, because Russo was encouraging Tony Khan. Russo made a point of saying that WWE is vulnerable right now because they are not good. And AEW and Tony Khan need to take advantage of that and go for the jugular. This is Russo's words, not mine. The Russo, who runs JCW, also asked if Tony Khan and them could get together and do a cross-promotion thing in JCW, which Tony Khan seemed pretty, okay with, figuring out what to do here. But I thought that, like I said, the interview started off pretty tentative, but I think Tony Khan won over Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo. And one other thing I will point out about the interview, Jonathan Coachman at the end of the interview said that this was the most watched show that they had ever done live. They had 5,000 people watching at one point, I believe, which is on a live show with the volume of live shows that are out there. 5,000 is really good. A lot. Remember, this is live. More people watch tape shows than they do live shows.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Plus, so I mean, it was like kind of that. They started at like 4 p.m. Didn't it?
4:30
maybe
p.m.
earlier.
4:30 p.m.
4:30. So I mean, when you consider 4:30, and most people watch it afterwards. 5,000 is a pretty strong number when you consider all the factors.
Oh, it definitely was. And they made a fortune because they had like super chats on, and there were people paying $30 a chat. They were constant. They were flooding on YouTube. Anybody else with a Kafabe?
Distracted by Mr. Ripley's abs here. I'm staring at him for a couple minutes.
Aren't we all?
It's intoxicating and mildly aroused.
I do.
So
go ahead.
So kind of a space dork. So I've been really into the Artemis missions.
Yeah.
And just to let folks know, I had a chance to. I saw Artemis 2 launch live. I was there in person at the Kennedy Space Center at the Saturn V Viewing Center, which is as close you can get to view it. The former NASA administrator and Senator Bill Nelson was walking around. Got to see him. Mark Kelly was there. Some other local dignitaries, and it's pretty cool. So if you ever have a chance and you're in Orlando, the Orlando area, to catch a rocket launch live, you're probably not going to catch an Artemis because it's once every couple years. But a Falcon rocket or a Falcon Heavy or even the Atlas V and the Delta Fives from ULA, definitely check out a rocket launch. It's super, super cool to do in person. And the Kennedy Space Center in general is just a real cool place to check out. So
It is definitely something that has always been on my bucket list that I've not checked off yet. I
it's a
really,
cool place, man.
I am a
Yeah.
big, stars, moon, planets, all kinds of stuff.
NASA is kind of the best of America.
Yeah.
Just doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff.
When I was a little kid,
so-
Barry, my
Mhm.
uncle gave me a pop-up book. I'm talking about when I was a little kid, and it was a pop-up book of Skylab.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
The first space station.
The first space station, the one that
Yeah.
crashed to the ground and had all kinds of stuff. People were putting bullseyes
It's a
out
bit
in
of a
their
mess.
yards.
Yeah.
But a lot of you probably are too young to remember that, but I lived through it.
Yeah.
And I've always been fascinated by anything to do with space. I watched Neil deGrasse Tyson all the time.
Yeah.
And, my favorite book of all time is Space by James Michener.
I was lucky in elementary school that I had a lot of really great science teachers. And when I first kind of became a little kid that could think, it was right when Halley's Comet was coming by. I saw Challenger, unfortunately, in school. We all were in the gym together watching that. And I've just always, like you, just been hooked. I used to watch the Carl Sagan runs of the first Cosmos, would play on the PBS station on rerun. And yeah, I've just always loved it.
I don't remember which shuttle mission it was, but it came over to news. This is when I was living down south. It came over to news that you could actually go outside and see the space shuttle as it was orbiting with the naked eye because the day was so clear that you could see it. And I went outside and I watched it. I was shocked at how fast that sucker went across the entire sky. I was like, holy cow, that was unbelievable. This little triangle
It's like
just whoosh.
Watching the Orion capsule, my wife has been fascinated. So I like to tease her that she says she hates reality TV, but she actually loves reality TV, and it's called live webcams of bald eagle babies. She's like obsessed with these eagles every year.
You posted a picture of them on our Discord, didn't you?
Yeah, it's those. Yeah, the Shadow and Jackie
That's
every year.
awesome.
Yeah, but she's just fallen in love with the astronauts live streaming, and she watches and she monitors, and it's been really nice she asked me all sorts of space questions, and like I watch videos from like astronomers that talk about black holes and planets and all sorts of dork stuff. And so to be able to like kind of talk with her about that kind of stuff, yeah, it's been fun. It's
if
been
you ever
really
come
nice
to
watching her
Northeast
get into it.
Pennsylvania with your wife, Barry, you have to come to my place of work because we've got more wildlife there than you can shake a stick at. Eagles all over the place.
Yeah.
Falcons, hawks, bear,
deer. I have bears in my backyard.
It's just like the baby deer. Cool. When we're mowing the lawn, you have to watch what you're doing in June and July because the baby deer like to lay, and you can't see them. And unfortunately, before I started working there were a couple of baby deer that did not make it. They, because they're small, they curl up really tight balls.
Yeah.
But anyway,
our house before the fire that backs up to the woods, like we get like that. We have baby cubs every year for bears and the fawns every year. It's always fun to watch. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah, I have a kafabe, and it has to do with maybe something that'll happen. Look, April 12th is Dynasty, and this is a bucket list pipe dream for me here. Starlight Kid from Stardom said something to the effect of that she has her eye on somebody basically, it was really hard to say what she meant. She was being very vague, in other words. But Stardom has a show on April 12th. Starlight Kid is not on that show. I'm hoping that maybe tomorrow night Starlight. Remember, Stardom has a show in Vegas on what is it, the 17th, I believe. So they're going to be here anyway. So I'm hoping that maybe Starlight Kid shows up in AEW tomorrow night and has a match with
All right, Kelson.
Brain freeze.
No, I'm sorry.
I was legit worried we lost you.
No, you did. I had to mute myself because there's so many people. There's so much noise going on. Somebody keeps making noises, and I'm having to mute people constantly. And it's actually you, Barry, that's making the noise. I just figured it out because everybody else is muted. But anyway, I'm hoping that maybe Starlight Kid shows up on Dynamite tomorrow night with Mercedes Moné. And why wouldn't that be a great match to bring Mercedes Moné back, to have her come out and beat Starlight Kid up? I mean, Starlight Kid, if you're not familiar with Starlight Kid, she's all of 4'9", and she's fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's any world that Starlight Kid would beat Mercedes Moné or any AEW women's wrestler in an AEW ring right now, but it could set up something for the future, which is what I'm hoping.
How often does she win in Japan?
Title match.
Sure could be.
How often does she win in Stardom, Kelson?
Stardom is kind of weird because you have your champions like Saya Kamitani, who wins more often than not. Okay.
Right.
But when it comes to other wrestlers, you don't have people that have long winning streaks in Stardom. They're literally 50-50.
Gotcha.
It's very weird.
So they don't use like win-loss to kind of build people. They just use like storylines and emotion.
The other thing with Stardom is that they're very faction based, and
Japanese wrestling in general is.
And the other thing is that other than in a few cases like Hate, with the faction Hate, there's really not. I'm sorry, got to mute people again. There's really not heels and baby faces, because we talked a lot in AEW about Will Ospreay facing Kenny Omega. That would be babyface versus babyface, and you don't want to see that very often. That's very common, and by the same token, heel versus heel. Even though Stardom doesn't have a tremendous amount of heels, that does happen. So it's not really as important there as it is here. Put it that way. Does anybody else have a kafabe before we close the night?
Thanks for that, Wilson. That's good context.
I mentioned it earlier, but I just wanted to say it again. I wish Swerve Strickland and Brody King were having round 2 at Dynasty. I thought, even though it wasn't a lot of build in the weeks they had leading up to Revolution, I really liked the feud. I thought the match was good, and I wanted to see them go at it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many wrestlers in AEW, Rollins, that don't have matches for Dynasty right now. We could see anything. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it could still happen.
There's so much that can still happen. Unfortunately, it's happening between, 4 days before the show, which I'm not a fan of. And to be honest with you, when it comes to Dynasty, I'm not really hyped for the pay-per-view. I really am not.
This is typically their weakest pay-per-view. It's typically their weakest pay-per-view. This definitely feels like a transition show.
But look, it doesn't need to be. This is only their second pay-per-view of the year. They've had since World's End to build.
I think it's a problem for them.
It's absolutely.
It's a problem.
Whether it's the weakest pay-per-view of the year or not, it shouldn't be. And I agree with you on that, Barry.
I'm not excusing it. I think it is a problem. Yeah. I don't think it's okay.
It shouldn't be because of poor booking. It shouldn't be because of poor booking. And that's exactly why it is. Does anybody else have a kafabe real quick?
Quick I'll do the New Japan Roundup. We just had Sakura Genesis this past weekend. It was a fantastic show. I'd say top three matches: Kenosuke Takeshita versus Shota Umino, Knockout Brothers versus Ryohei Iwa and Zack Sabre Jr., and Callum Newman versus Yota Tsuji. And we have a new IWGP Heavyweight Champion in Callum Newman, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. And it also plays into kind of discussion earlier. After the match, during the post-match comments, Ospreay did say, "Hey guys, I didn't really want to, bring this up during Callum's celebration, but I got some trouble back at work. I could use some help." So I would not be at all surprised if we see United Empire,
right.
and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him Sunday.
Yeah, did you allude to that earlier? Yeah. So yeah, I think Chris, I think that's a good point. I think Barry, I think that's a good point. I think that it's
I didn't even know that happened at the show. It just storyline wise made sense.
Ospreay did go to Japan and ask United Empire for help. And I thought that's what I thought you were alluding to.
No idea. I just narratively, I was like, all right, if I'm playing with the pieces here, that would make sense. So
Well,
I think I might be right.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
All right. So tomorrow night after Dynamite, where I hope that there's, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 matches made for Dynasty in 0 Hour, because there's none right now. That, again, it's a great pay-per-view for WWE, but for AEW, there's not a whole lot of matches. But tomorrow night after Dynamite, right after Dynamite, about 10 minutes after Dynamite, our friends Conrad Cushman and Derek Shelton give their AEW Dynamite review. I'm sure that they will be talking about any matches that will be made. Of course, you're listening to Ignition. We are here every Tuesday night at 8:45 Eastern Time right here on our YouTube. And, of course, on Monday night, Clash of the Podcast with Conrad Cushman and Sean Hubbard. They talk about WWE, AEW, TNA, NJPW, you name it. They talk about it. Combat Sports. Their shows are so much fun, highly interactive. Go on YouTube, make comments. Chris, you've been on their shows before in the section. You know.
Oh yeah, it's always fun. They do great with the chat and everything. Yeah. Can't recommend them enough.
Highly interactive and just fun. They are very fun to listen to. Not as fun as Rollins, but fun.
Hey, Marcus, fun having you on the show tonight, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, Marcus, don't be such a stranger. You're part of the team.
Yeah, buddy.
Come on,
man.
You don't have to.
Well, sometimes I just like to be in the comment section and just watch on YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah, when I can, I definitely will.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
And Marcus, you have your own channel and you post a lot of your stuff over on the AEW Fan Hub subreddit. Always good to see, and hopefully we'll see more from you there. Conrad, in our chat, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next Tuesday at 8:45 Eastern Time. For the AEW Fan Hub podcast team, this is Kelson. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Eddie Kingston.
What's on that?